Sorry, go on.
He got me good. It'll be on
I
YouTube.
can't hear you. Why can't I hear you? Did you press that button? You pressed that button. Try again. Test, 1, 2, okay. Battery issues, I think. Super
That's making fun of me.
I understand the concept. The concept's about me. Because nobody else is referred to.
Would you rather play as Crowley, Canton, or a new character?
It would have to be a new character, because it'd be Sherlock.
Would it be all three together?
No, Super Hulock isn't being on all three. Super Hulock is just me being on Sherlock. That's the entire point. Then I have completed Super Hulock. Hey, welcome to the Dick Show. Stop touching the microphones. This is the Limp Dick Show. Can anyone be bothered to bring a screwdriver over here and fix it? Thank you.
Alright, I guess I'm going to
You know what? That was the worst thing I should have asked for here. Very good. You know, when we were in Melbourne doing the first Symphonic Spectacular, and I was emceeing the Symphonic Spectacular with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. Thank you. Melbourne Symphony Orchestra and the Concordis Choir and all this stuff going on. So you want to get that? It would be you, wouldn't it? That was a real dick move. Yes, welcome to the South, the polite South. So anyway, so we were in Melbourne and the click track went out, and there was a problem at the beginning of one of the pieces to sync the video to the orchestra. And so they apologised for it going wrong, and suddenly 5,000 sonic screwdrivers suddenly appeared. Usually goes to one place you don't ask for help. Yes, you have a question. What's your question?
When the character of Rowena was introduced...
I love how you did that so small, because she is small.
So, did Crowley have an awareness that his mother was alive?
Crowley doesn't have a mother.
Well,
it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm not Fergus. Fergus has a mother called Rowena. It makes no sense at all, never did make any sense, and never had a single bit of impact on me at all. The only way I could play it, after I explained it to them when they first wrote it, was that the fact that everybody else had a mother, so why shouldn't I? So Crowley doesn't have a mother. I mean, it got to the point where, somewhere in season 11, I think, they had the sarcophagus of Fergus somewhere. I can't remember. It's silly about it. And John Badham, the director, called me and says, "Oh, we're going to do the sarcophagus. I've got this really good idea." So what? I said, "Can we do a live cast of your face and put it on the sarcophagus?" I said, "Yeah, that'd be great, but it's not my face. It's Fergus. Fergus is about that big, red-headed, and looks nothing like me." And and it went quiet. Okay. I had to call Jeremy right away because I knew he'd call Jeremy. So I went through to Jeremy. Jeremy said, "Yeah, he just called me. So it's not your face. It's a completely different face, so it doesn't work." So people got very confused by that Crowley's mother. It's not Crowley's mother. It's Fergus's mother, and I'm not Fergus. So it's kind of interesting. Really have to watch the show. Well, the first 8 or 9 seasons, I think. Hi.
Thanks for royally confusing me.
So you need to call your mother, sorry.
So, I want to first off say you're a fantastic actor.
Thank you. You'll get your $1 at the back anyway.
I also want to say you're a fantastic speaker. My question is, when were you first good at speaking at conventions? Like,
think about that sentence. When was I first good? I wasn't making fun of that. That's actually really think about it. I'm not a natural speaker. I just found that if I'm honest, it's funny. If I'm honest, it's kind of interesting. You know, why shut up and talk a load of rubbish or sit there and bore yourself to death about, well, there were 3 switches on the side of the TARDIS that I pressed on one day, and then on the other day I pressed the other 3. It's not really that interesting. The interesting thing about me and the TARDIS, there's 2 interesting things about me and the TARDIS. You want to know the first one? Yeah. I broke the latch on this one, on the real one of this one. I broke it and I walked away from that. And the other fun thing about the TARDIS is that the boys didn't really watch Who at all. They had no good, but they realised how big it was. So Jared was at Comic-Con, and then he was like, I want to see the TARDIS thing. So we had to get guards from the Warner Brothers lot. These are the guys that guard Clint Eastwood. These are the big security dudes in black suits, talk up their sleeves. You know, it was kind of scary. So to go across the floor, it was chaos with them. So we were marching towards the BBC America booth. BBC America booth, they had a TARDIS. So trying to put them in the TARDIS, only they didn't know he was coming. So it was full of storage items. So literally, Jared didn't fit in the TARDIS. Went bigger on the inside. There's 2 TARDIS stories for you. See, it's true, it's funny. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Also, you know what? I hate to be boring more than I'm afraid of speaking. So I try to think of something to do that'll at least get me through this time without losing my mind. About that. I actually suffer from anxiety. You'd have no idea. I suffer from anxiety and at least some mild form of depression. And this is the opposite of what I should feel comfortable doing. But it's kind of fun to do, and I love doing it. Because it's scarier than not doing it. How about that? Oh yeah.
So last night you were asked, why are you laughing? I didn't do anything yet.
She had a lovely smile.
Oh.
I was smiling back at you.
So last night you were asked if you watched the shows that you're in, and you said it would be weird if you didn't, basically.
Yeah, I think so. Because I tend to be part of the plot,
Right.
as opposed to just show up as me.
That makes sense. So I guess my question is, what's in your Netflix queue that you're not in? Like, what do you enjoy watching that doesn't have you in it? Other than that
I
guy's camera.
just don't even know how I feel. How you doing?
Good.
That would be the soundbite you should come and put on your Instagram page.
I will.
Oh, there you go.
Um,
Sorry, did you want something?
What's in your Netflix queue? What do you like to watch that you're
I
not
don't
in?
have a Netflix queue. I'm too busy. I have to actually take time to work out something I want to watch.
So you've never binged any show? That's what you're telling me right now.
I binge watch loads of shows.
Well, that's what I'm asking about.
Nothing in my Netflix queue as we speak.
Okay, so what have you been?
My wife and I just watched 7 seasons of QI. Oh! Call yourselves nerds. Stephen Fry has had started a show, sort of a game show, sort of. It's called Quite Interesting. And it's basically showing to everybody how much Stephen Fry knows and how little everybody else knows. It's amazing to watch. I like that. I get weird sort of ideas about things I like to see. Just watched a bunch of Hancock half hours from the 1950s. Exactly.
I'm 26.
I get to see a lot of Tangled, Moana, Princess Sophia, Daddy, watch Banana. It's Moana. Banana. Moana. Banana. So it's Maui. Bowie. Banana. That's what I get. That was when you get a girl. Hi.
I'd like to give you a of choice, a fairly standard convention question, or strike 3 for stupid questions.
Stop making me work. Ask the question. He's on 2.5 strikes right now.
Stupid question?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
All right. Well, I've seen the Jared Padalecki didn't fit in the TARDIS before, but is it true that Jared Padalecki picked you up and shook you?
Many times. Many times. He's like, hey! What the hell is wrong with you? It's true. It's very strong. It's funny, my daughter is born on Jensen's birthday. Jensen's daughter is born on my birthday. And Jared has a son called Shep. Yeah, we're not connected at all. Oh yeah?
Okay, so if you could choose to be in any program or movie or anything,
Doesn't work like that. I wish it did.
yeah, but if you could,
I wouldn't tell you.
and others,
You know what I just started watching? I just remembered I started watching Barry. Did you see Barry? So weird. I just saw the first 3. I was laughing very hard. So, if I could choose, what would you choose to be in if you could be in anything?
I want to play doctor.
You want to be the doctor? It's a tough gig. It's a really tough gig. You've got to represent all the things that people think they know about the doctor. How about that? How stupid is that? And then you go, whoa, you know, David Tennant was better. Every 5 minutes. It's like, I prefer the original Battlestar. Why? Was it the suits? It's an interesting, I don't get to choose, no way. It'd be interesting if I did, but if I was that much of a celebrity that I could choose, I probably wouldn't get to do the roles that I get to do. Because I'd have to do roles that involve me being a celebrity. Does that make sense? It's much more fun to sort of be slightly 1 foot under the radar. So I can show up in something and you'll go like, I knew he'd be in something else. I love taking my name off the credits. It's like my favourite thing to do. It's like I've done it like a bunch of times now when I'm supposed to be dead and come back or whatever. It's like I'll take my name off the credits so it doesn't spoil it. They can't make you do that. They can't even ask you. I think I have to offer. So I've done it a bunch of times. It's kind of fun to do. But I like the impact that I have going into a show. It's kind of cool. Good luck with your doctor though. You never know, man. It's it. Who knows? Who knows? Oh yeah, what the hell did you come as?
I was gonna try to be Castiel, but I couldn't find a white shirt, so I got a blue shirt. And I don't know.
You're still better dressed. Still better dressed than she is. What? I like it, but it's, you know, it's like, if you dressed your kid like this, it'd be child abuse. Get a nice black suit, you know, great tie.
Snazzy.
Yeah.
All right.
As opposed to
Yeah.
Castiel. We're basically just Steve, really. I like Steve. Steve was cool. No pretensions. Worked in a 7-Eleven. Somebody's phone ringing?
Yeah.
Cool. We have a vibrate function now, you know that, right? Pleasant for you and for me. You have a question?
Well, I wanted to start off by saying I was pleasantly surprised to see you in Voyager, because I love Star Trek Voyager, so that was awesome seeing you in that.
Thank you. I might break your heart if you ask me too many questions about it.
Oh, I'm not gonna.
Okay, good. I'm just saying that it's probably my least favourite experience on television. Although I love Jerry, like, beyond all capability, I had such no fun at all with Miss Margaret. It was so weird. It was just like the weirdest thing. Manu was fantastic, and got to meet Robert was really cool. People I met. Johnny was like 6 hours in makeup to put that head on, and come and said 2 words. He goes, "Yep, highest paid extra in Hollywood." I remember that. It was good people, but they were. You know what was fun about that show? They were the same prosthetic artists that had worked on my dad in Star Trek stuff, so they all knew my dad. So that could be fun. But she was was like weird. She was just odd and uncomfortable.
Well, my question, so for people that don't watch Supernatural,
Yeah.
like demons and hell are like, have a very different connotation than they do in the show. So when you first got the role as Crowley, how did like people around you react to finding out that you were going to be playing the King of Hell?
Well, I didn't become the King of Hell at the beginning. It took a little while.
That's true.
I became the sort of middle-of-the-road salesman of hell for a bit. Quickly took over. But I don't think it made any difference what my job was. I have a theory with the show is that people watch the show because they like the Winchester brothers. That's it. Proof is you can't make a spin-off. No. I'll explain. This is part one. People watch the show because they like the Winchester brothers. It wouldn't be on the air. Take them out of the show, they're never not in an episode. It dies. Any spin-offs just die. They never work. And then what happens is there are two ancillary characters. There's an angel, just a bit like this, and there's a demon who looks like me. And I think the audience has always lived vicariously through the angel and the demon, sort of who love the Winchesters, and the Winchesters love them in a weird way. So it's this odd connection between those four characters which always seemed to work for me. So it was the fact that, it wasn't always about Sam and Dean, but it was always connected to Sam and Dean in some way, which I always thought was really cool. Until, they kept trying to change it, and then it switched back, and then somebody else new would come in and go, what would be a really good idea? Angels and demons. And I go, oh, okay, I haven't thought of that before. Start again, which is what they'll probably do next year. It'd be good. They try to replace me. It's good. It's fun. Good luck. Thank you. I appreciate it. Next time, come better dressed. What the pants for? You just need the jacket. The jacket and a great tie. I'm telling you, it would have been killer. It would have made me really happy. That's all.
Hello.
Hi.
I just had a
I
question.
love the idea of a garlic with those ears.
They're the little light.
I get it. It works. It's really good.
I had a question of, if you could go anywhere, space or time, in space or time.
Right here, right now. Tried all that crap. I'm 28 years sober. I have a 19-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Right here, right now, where that's all there is. Hiya. Me too. Don't worry about it. How can I help you? You're very welcome. Hey, did you see K9 in the corner there? Has that been a bad dog or something? It's kind of weird positioning. You'd think that if you're facing the other way. Is it hiding? You broke it? What did you do? Okay, just checking. Do you know who you look like? You got the same smile as? Michael Rosenbaum. You actually have the same smile. It's a very cute smile too. You know who Michael Rosenbaum is?
Yeah.
Lex Luthor in Smallville. He's such a... But he's got literally the same smile. It's very cool. Hey, now, what did you want?
Okay, there is a YouTube channel called The Hollywood Show. They did a Supernatural parody. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, you need to because they're doing a part 2.
They did it already.
Yeah, they're about to.
No, they did it
post
already.
Yeah.
I wasn't in either. They asked
I know.
me to be in both.
I was gonna ask. Why weren't you there?
Because I thankfully declined. I tend not to join clubs that would have me as a member. I love the Hollywood Girls a lot. They're very cool. I think the parodies are great. But there's, it's weird. I've come to realise that I fought for every inch of space I ever got on Supernatural. I was never in the 150th. I wasn't in the 200th. I wasn't in French Mistake. I wasn't in Baby. I wasn't in any of that. I was given none of the glamour gigs. None of that stuff was ever given to me. So I'm kind of quite proud that I eked out 8 years of antagonism in a place that I'm not entirely sure was built for me. Does that make sense? Yeah. Which is kind of why I like the character the way it is. And look, I'm telling you, who here watches Supernatural even knows what I'm talking about? Alright, so those of you who don't worry about it, I'll explain it. The series was very, very well written. Was written to end in season 5 of the apocalypse, right? That's how it's supposed to do. Eric Kripke was done. He wrote it 5 seasons. It was really popular. I came in the middle of season 5, right at where the story is supposed to end. They got a new showrunner in Sarah Gamble, and she had the impossible task of restarting the show that was supposed to end. She did really well. Season 6 has some of the best standalone episodes there are, including French Mistake, etc., etc., etc. And very, very hard to do. Season 7 is literally one of the most unwatchable seasons there is, starring one of my best friends as Dick Ronan. Which is an excuse to say Dick 120 times. By the way, season 7 would have been a brilliant season 12. But it wasn't a great season 7. It's not anybody's fault, it's just the way it was. Sarah left at the end of 7. Jeremy came back, who was one of the earlier writers that was on the show. He came in season 8 and he went, you know what would be really cool here? Angels and Demons. And we went back to the beginning. He then created season 8, which is probably the best season of its type, which was very serialized and very heavy, and ends with the angels and the human blood stuff, and my sort of tour de force at the end of that season. So much fun for me. That was really, really cool for me to do. Season 9 was a very interesting continuation of that, which ends with Demon Dean. And season 10 got a bit weird, and they stopped Demon Dean after 3 episodes, which never made any sense to me. We got a little worried that people wouldn't have it, but I was a bit. So 10 was getting a bit not quite as much fun as 9 was, and it was still good. Then 11, it just was not a great season as far as I was concerned. By the end of 11, it wasn't making a lot of sense. I was eating peanuts in a bar at the end. I had no idea what the hell, that wasn't even in the script. But, it didn't make it, just me, this is just my opinion of where I'm at. And 12 just was, hold on, they have to be somewhere? Do they have to be somewhere?
We have time for one more question after this.
Do we not have a few minutes?
You've already used the few minutes.
Okay. We'll have to do this more often. So, 12 was very much a season that made no sense to me at all. So hopefully they'll go back to rebooting it. So if you want to watch the show, watch it from the beginning, see how that goes. But yeah, it was interesting that way. Anyway, what do you want?
I know you're done with Supernatural. I know you're tired of it and over it.
I'm not tired and over it at all. They had the option for me in season 13. I didn't have the option. I signed a 4-year contract. When they had the option to pick up my 4th year, they declined. Before they declined, I said very clearly, I understand you have an option here. You're not saying anything about it, but I'm watching where the writing's going. And I went, okay, I'm going to tell you one thing and be very fair with you, which is this. If you take my face off that poster, I will never come back. Because they don't need to. They didn't need to get rid of me. There was no reason to do so. Certainly if they're going to get rid of me for whatever reason they want to get rid of me for, I'm not going to come back. There's no reason to come back then. So that's the problem. So it's not, I didn't want to be on the show. It was their choice entirely. They declined to have me come in for season 13.
Well, I have truly missed seeing you.
That's okay.
I got spoiled seeing you.
Go back, watch 5 to 9.
We really miss seeing you. I know I'm not the only one. Is there anything else that I'll be able to see you in?
I would love to be able to tell you that, but there's nothing yet that I can let you know. But I
So
will.
I just have to chase you around.
You have to chase me around and you have to keep watching. I will let you know. Thank you, my darling. What do you need?
Can we hear your story of how you got your first date with your wife?
I got my first date with my wife?
Yes.
Who said uh-oh? Why said uh-oh? God, there's so much crap about this on the internet. There's children about this stuff. My wife is the most truly wonderful person.
Let's hear your story, your side, your version.
My side? I'm not sure how to take that. That's kind of the weirdest thing that anybody said to me. There is only one side of it, which is our side of the story. The rest of it is horseshit. My wife had one guilty pleasure in her life. She was going through a rough period, and she used to watch Supernatural, and she liked it. And so when she was bored and had some time, she would go to Vancouver, which is a beautiful place to go, hole herself up in a beautiful hotel, and go to one convention. The only convention she'd ever been to in her entire life. When she'd actually been on a trip with her dad by train around the Canadian Rockies. That's what my wife does for fun. Going to conventions is not what she necessarily does for fun. But she went to a Supernatural convention and liked it. And she went there, and she went back there the next year because she made some friends there. And the third year she went back, both she and I were very, very divorced, extremely divorced. I'd met her for literally 40 seconds in each of the previous 2 years. And on the third year, she was sitting with a friend of mine, and talking to a friend of mine, and I said, I'm going out, you're from Sydney, right? She said, yeah. So why aren't you going over to Sydney? She goes, well, if you're there, give me a call. I'd probably be in Sydney at some point. And I never called her. And then, like months and months later, it was like, how's your son doing in his football in England? Because I hadn't called her. And I was like, oh yeah, he's doing good. I'm really sorry I didn't call you. Okay. And then suddenly, 5 months later, we were together. We never stopped talking to each other, less than 7 hours a day, from the time that we started talking onwards. I've travelled around the world to be with her. She's the most fantastic woman that I know. I love her, my kids love her, if that's okay with you. The assholes who put stuff out on the internet about my wife, you're idiots. She's the kindest person you could ever meet. Ask anybody that ever went to the Vancouver conventions, they were like, she's the nicest girl there is. So this idea of it's like me running off with a fan, it's not really a real scenario. Does that make sense? And trust me, I was extremely divorced by that time. You know, it's kind of disingenuous, and I think a little bit, I think it's a lot of people's jealousy and unkindness that sort of, every now and then, you know, you get 1,000 comments on something she writes that's really nice. Somebody will write something really crappy about her on there. You're like, why bother? You don't know her, you don't know me. It's the kindest person you'll ever meet. If any one of you walked up to my wife and said, hi, you're Mark Sheppard's wife, she'd go, hi, how you doing? She wouldn't go, get away from me. So, you know, I don't see why people need to be mean about stuff. But, you know, Jensen told me they did the same thing with Daniil, they did the same thing. It's just what some people do. It's easier to be negative than it is to be positive. But all you got to know is she's the most fantastic person I know. The kindest woman I've ever met. And we have a beautiful 2-year-old daughter, and she is a stepmother to my 2 amazing children. And they love her more than they love me. And I hate to say, that's not even taking into account her family, who are absolutely amazing. And I love spending time with. I was in the Cotswolds with my wife's 95-year-old grandfather for 5.5 weeks. Coolest guy I know. Trust me. It's like, you know, I hate it with a vengeance. I didn't even pay any attention to it because I don't pay attention to negative crap. Unless you really annoy me, in which case I'll just tear you guys apart. But why? Why pick on her? I don't get it. I've never understood it. I think it's the tackiest thing in the world. You should be happy for me. I was bloody miserable for the 3 years before that.
So, I mean, listening to you talk the whole time, it's kind of giving me a part of what an answer to my question would be. You do have a natural charisma, and I think you've got that ability that you see out of, like, you know, Tim Roth, Gary Oldman, of being able to play that likable, unlikable person. Where does that come from for you, though? I mean, where do you tap in to be able to go, I'm doing this character, which really, in all likelihood, people should not like, but they do.
Thank you. It's a really nice thing to say. Plus, also putting me in company with 2 actors who I revere. And Tim Roth was the guy that got that first film that I didn't get, and the second film.
So I read that
You did really well, Made in Britain, and then they're here. They're fantastic actors. What they do, in my opinion, is they consume as much of the truth of their character as they possibly can, and instead of making them a one-dimensional entity with one thing to tell, you care more about them. You get that with Tom Hardy, you get that with a lot of people. There are actors that do that, and I've always been enamored by that. It takes more work, it takes a little more effort, but you have to find the love and the care in it. You don't play villains, you play people with conflicting stories, perhaps. So, but it's a wonderful observation you make, and thank you, I'm very honoured by that. Let's not get mad at me, you guys have got stuff you have to do. I can answer your questions really fast. I will.
I was just going to say,